So you're thinking about doing a side hustle. Don't do it. It's scary. No. I have some experience with side hustles. I guess I'm a side hustler. I've been self-employed and doing a various number of side hustles to make a living for the past 13 years now. And I I worked many jobs in wherever I could get a job. I had a lot of warehouse work and just kind of I always seemed to work for like maybe 2 years, and I don't know if it's my ADHD or what, but I just kind of got bored of working for an employer, making a paycheck. And I mean, it was fine. Some people, they have to do that. They have to have that structure. And I totally understand that. Um, but some people can do it on their own. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not easy. And at first it's very, um, unnerving and scary. At first it's very like you just don't know if you're going to be able to do it or not. It's hard to get things going. And when I actually graduated from MMI, which is Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, and I was a Harley Davidson graduate, early model and late model. And I thought, that would be a good career to have, and I'd get into the industry and make good money. And I did really good in school. I got straight A's and perfect attendance, and I liked it. I liked doing it. But when I got out, I got placed at a Harley Davidson as a technician, and it it was pretty much it was like starting over. So everything I learned at school was just like the basics, and that was fine. They have good program there at MMI, and um, I actually won a scholarship to that school, the Jeremy McGrath scholarship, and I won it with a video that I did. And me and a pastor friend of mine did this little 2 minute video, and it ended up winning. So I got a $22,000 scholarship to MMI, and I went there, and it was a year and a half, and learned everything, and it was great. I had a lot of fun. I love learning. I love gaining new knowledge about things, and I read a lot. But when I went to work for Harley, it was like any other corporation. It wasn't cool like I thought it was gonna be, and it just was like very disappointing when I got in there, because I had expectations that it was going to be this cool job working on these nice motorcycles, and it ended up kind of like working for any other corporation, like Walmart with motorcycles. And the money was decent at the time, and it just ended up, it was one of those things that you just got to make um, production, and you got to keep your times up and everything like that. And it always seems like you're being pushed and pressured to do the best, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. But that's not me. I am not one to be pushed or pressured. So at that time, I was already starting to think of something else to do. And I worked there for about 2 years as a technician. And after Harley, I went to work for another place, which was actually really cool. It was Motorcycle Parts Warehouse. And I met a lot of good friends. And actually, the owner became a really good friend of ours. And he's just an awesome guy. And so that job was probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. And I remember when I interviewed with them. The guy that interviewed me asked me why I had so many jobs on my history. And I had like, I'd worked for like 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, and I had probably, you know, 15, 20 jobs on my resume. And every single job I've ever worked, they recommend me. They'll always give me their a recommendation for future employers. If they call, they say, yeah, he's a great worker, he does a really good job. But I made me think. I was like, okay, why is that? And it's just, I just get bored of working for a company. And I probably honestly could have stayed at this company for as long as they were open, but they ended up closing. So it put me in a position where I was like, well, I can get another job. And there's not very many jobs in that industry that are because I ended up working as a parts manager for that place, and I liked that a lot more than being a technician. And I had been doing some lawn service with my father-in-law, helping him a couple days a week, making some extra money. And we had like 10, probably 10 yards to do, and I was like, it's pretty easy. I'm outside. I know it's Florida, it's hot as hell out here, but this is something I could do. And it's really not hard for me to get customers. um I have a lot of friends in my circle, and everyone in my community, in the music community, we all help each other out, especially when it comes to jobs and side hustles and stuff like that. We're all helping each other out. If somebody needs this or that, we send it out on Facebook or whatever, and usually we find somebody who is an expert in that field and they can help out and give us a discount or whatever. And basically when I thought about this, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start a lawn business. And I remember when I was thinking about this, I saw this program for um it was like people with disabilities. No, a friend of mine told me about this thing, and I was like, what the heck? I'm not disabled. And she's like, no, but you have ADHD. And I knew I did have ADHD, and I had been diagnosed by whatever, a shrink. And so I knew I had that. And that was one of the qualifying um, disabilities. So I guess I'm disabled. But so that was one of the qualifications to get into this program. Well, this program, what it did was it helped you get a business started. And it was really cool. I gotta I gotta remember the name. I'll put the name up of what it is, but it's a government program, and they basically train you. I had a trainer. It took like 6 months, the whole process, but I had a business trainer, and he met with me every week, and just a really nice guy. I mean, just a great person and a very good businessman. And he helped me write up my proposal and do all this. And basically you send it in to the program, and it's like a grant they give you. They basically start your business. So I did everything I needed to do. I met with him every week, and we drew up a business plan and submitted it. And they ended up purchasing my lawn equipment. Well, a lot of it. I got most of my equipment I got from that program. And so they got me, I got a trailer, enclosed. No, it wasn't that one. Yeah, it was enclosed trailer. And I got my stick equipment and a blower. And I didn't have my mower, but I put something on Facebook. I remember I just said, "Man, this is a nice mower," and I had a picture of it. We were at a place, and I had this gentleman um, hit me up, and he knew me from my band Rusty Shine, and we had played at a festival in where he lives in Ocala, and he said, I like to help people out. He was an older gentleman. He's recently passed away, and he's just a awesome man. Um, you know, I'll always be grateful for him. And anyway, he hit me up, really not knowing me, and he said, I just really think I can help you get your business started, and I'd like to, and I've done this before, and I'll use my credit because my credit was terrible. So he said, I'll use my credit to help you get started, and then you could pay me back. So basically he bought me the remaining things I needed in my lawn business to get it started, and that was um, my zero turn mower and a couple of other things that I had on there. But the zero turn was like $8,000. So, and there was no way I could get it. And I had already started my lawn business real, real small. I was doing like push mower and stuff like that. So, but I really needed a zero turn to really get it started. And so he put his credit on the line, and we signed up, and I got my zero turn, and it was like $150 a month to pay that off. And so I paid him for, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 years at least. It might have been 5 years, but it was a long time. And I paid him. I was never late. And I mean, if I was like going to be a couple days late or anything like that, I'd let him know. And he very, gracious with me. So I ended up paying that off. That helped me get started. So yes, I did have a lot of help with the lawn business, with the government program. And this gentleman, I don't want to name his name. He told me never to name his name. He said he just wanted to do this for me and wanted to be anonymous. So I did have help. And I mean, that's really besides the point, because basically what it's showing is you can get started in a side hustle. So this really, the lawn business, I've been doing it for 13 years now. And it kind of gave me a bridge to go from the employee to the self-employed. And I was building customers. I put out stuff on Facebook. I'm doing a lawn service. If anybody needs help, or if they need lawn service, hit me up. And it started to grow. And at first I was doing lawns everywhere, like all over town. I was driving forever. And now I've got my areas that are like close together, so I try to keep it all close together. But it's been very successful. It's good work. It keeps me outside. It's hot as hell in the summer, and every summer I'm like, "Ugh, why did I start this?" But for this one side hustle, it started as a side hustle, but I it's almost become the same thing as being employed, but it's better because I get to make my own schedule. If I need to take a day off or take off early, I can do all that. I don't have anybody to answer to except my customers. And that's a good thing. I've got great customers. They're super understanding if I have something go wrong or anything. And as long as I communicate, they're cool with that. So I started the lawn business. So I've always been a musician, and I'll go into the lawn business in a separate podcast and kind of break it down how I started that and everything. But this one is just really on side hustles and starting it, because when you make that bridge from employee to self-employed, you're jumping out on faith. I mean, if you're a believer, you're praying a lot right now, and you're like, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing, but I need your guidance. I need you to help me. And um, you know, you're jumping out in faith. It is a scary jump going from employment to self-employment. And you're doing it on your own. You're doing your taxes, everything, the bookkeeping, everything is on you. So you screw up, it's you. And I don't mind that. I like that. I'd rather have me screw up than, me screw up and screw up a business or, somebody else's life onto the next thing. So I've always been a musician and played music. I'm a drummer. So my next side hustle is music and playing music. Um, we play gigs. I'm in like 3 bands. And then I sub for bands. If they need a drummer to come play a gig, I can do that. And that's usually 100 to $300 a gig. So that's a good side hustle. If you play an instrument, start doing open mic nights. That's another thing. You could do open mic nights and you get paid for that. I make 50, $100 at an open mic night. If you're the host band. So, but if you don't have any experience playing your instrument with bands, I suggest you go to open mic nights and just look around on Facebook or Instagram and find them in your area, and go get out there and practice your instrument and build it, and you can, hang out with other musicians and talk to them and get gigs from them. Um, because that'll happen just for going to those things. They'll see you play, they're like, oh man, I need a saxophone player or a keyboard player or whatever. So music is a good thing. You can promote music, you can be a promoter where you do festivals, or you do gigs, and you do that kind of thing. You could be a DJ. Yeah, I've DJ'd before. You can make a lot of money doing that. And if you're good at it, you can do weddings. You can make thousands of dollars for DJing a wedding. Basically, you need a PA system and a laptop, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the fancy guys have more than that. But just to get started, you could do that. I mean, if you have a friend that's looking for a DJ at a party, that's what I did. That's how I started. And you just go and you do it. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. Don't do it anymore. If you have artistic abilities, I'm an artist, so I do different kinds of, like I do bottle art, and I make lamps and wind chimes and all kinds of stuff out of like whiskey bottles and stuff like that. And you can sell your art. I've done um, markets, farmers markets, art markets, and where you go and you set up a tent and you have your artwork out and you sell your art that way. That's a really good side hustle. Um, and one of the good things about this for me is it's a variety of things. So I'm always doing something different. And that's a good thing when you have ADHD, or you're just, you don't like to be locked down to one thing all the time, working a job 9 to 5. that just that can wear on your soul. I know a lot of people, they don't have a choice, and a lot of people love that, and they just need that. They want that structure, and that's cool. Hey, they're trust me, they're probably better off because they don't have the worries of, well, am I going to be able to make ends meet this month? And fortunately, my wife she works a job. She's got a career, and she works from home, and so that's a stable income. So she's been a good part of me getting my self-employment going. I mean, we've had some times that are rough, and she hasn't always worked. I provided for her for a while. I mean, we homeschooled our kids for a while, and so I was the majority of the bills. But she went back to work, and so now it's just there's that stability. But by that time, I had already got my lawn business going, so we had a pretty steady income from that. So art, you could sell art. I sell my bottles, for like 50, sometimes hundreds of dollars on Etsy, and you can open up an Etsy store. It's real easy. They just send you a little charge, and basically there, if you sell something, there's a transaction fee. You can resell stuff, thrift stores. If you find something on the side of the road, I found during the pandemic, I found brand new bikes that people just put at the side of the road, and two of them, like I found two that were together, and I actually went up and asked them if they were throwing them away because it looked like they were brand new bikes, and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead and take them." And when I got them home, I noticed that they didn't have each one didn't have a pedal, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And the pedals are the threaded different on each side, so I was thinking he probably couldn't get them on or something, and he just said, give up. I took those bikes, and it was during the pandemic, and there was like this weird shortage on bikes at Walmart. Like everybody wanted a bike and nobody could get a bike. So I put those on Marketplace, and I sold them within a half an hour. I sold both those bikes, and that was like a couple $100 for a trash find. So I'm always finding stuff on the side of the road. I'm not too proud to pick it up or ask somebody. There's people throw away valuable things, and it's crazy to me, but whatever. I'll take it, resell it. So you could go to thrift stores, you could resell stuff. My wife makes clothing, and she makes custom clothing, and you can resell clothing. You could do videos like this on YouTube, start a YouTube channel, and who knows, you might eventually start making an income from this. I don't, not right now, but I mean, I'm doing these videos, so maybe someday I'll be monetized, and that's another extra income. There's so many things that if you just put your mind to it, you can make money. Um, One problem I will say is with this mindset, when you're locked into this mindset, you kind of get to where everything is a money making opportunity. And some people don't understand that. And I get that. Um, but it's like with me, I try not to do it because I'm like, "Ah, damn it. Like everything's got to be about money." And so like if I'm doing a gig or something, and like sometimes, mainly when it comes to loved ones and stuff like that, I've really been trying to give be generous with everything I do now. And it's because I'm not really in a position where I'm struggling to make ends meet. I'm actually doing okay now. So I can actually give stuff to bless people, which I love to do. I love to give away my art, and just I've been making videos. I'll make videos of me making a lamp or something, and just give it to a person who I like, or I just want to give it to him, or I'll just get like a sense, you know, I want to make this person a lamp or make this person something, so I can do that, you know. And that's another thing that's doesn't have anything to do with money. It just makes you feel good helping people out or doing something nice, random act of kindness, you know, that kind of stuff. And I love doing that. So but at first it was kind of like, you know, everybody, even like my mom, you know, make her pay for it. No, I wouldn't make my mom pay for anything. But you know what I mean? I mean, it's to the point where you're just like constantly trying to make money, trying to figure out how to make ends meet. So you're charging for everything. Well, you don't have to be that way. Um, and I'm getting away from that now, finally. So it's probably annoying sometimes to people. That's I know I've got other things that I do. I can't really think of them right now, but I'll end this video with that. But I'm gonna do more side hustle videos on just the side hustles that I do and how I do them, and like booking bands or gaining customers in the lawn service and how I do my paperwork and everything like that, but very specific for that side hustle. And so this one is just kind of like my launching into this genre, or whatever you call it. What do they call it? Niche. It's a niche. It's my niche, my side hustle niche. So if you like this content and you want to learn more about this, I'll be doing videos, and just like and subscribe and follow along with me, and I'll help you out as much as I can. If you have any questions on how I got started or what I do with taxes, I don't care. Ask ask it down in the comments. Let me know what your questions are. But subscribe to the channel, and go check out my other videos. I got videos of me doing my side hustles. And Carrie and I, my wife, we have the podcast is the main thing on this channel. It's Hanging with the Huns, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, and it helps us out. And I'll see you next time. Peace.